All right. What's up, everybody? Welcome to Somebody's Podcast, episode 19. It's good to be back after a few week hiatus. We got our regular suspects in the house. Justin.
My man.
We got our guest, Eric.
What's up?
Chris Ledoux.
Yo.
And my man, Marshall.
Yo.
I know I personally have been excited to come back and do this along with Justin. We spoke with this. And also, let's not forget our man Chris DiNicola, who's not here tonight. He had some other obligations, but we definitely wanted to go through with putting out another episode because it had been a few weeks. And before we get into any type of topic, I personally wanted to touch on the fact that recently it means a lot to me personally that people have reached out to me and said, hey, when are you guys coming back? I've had friends reach out and say, bring up Justin or bring up Chris. And it's really cool to see that as friends, what we do with this podcast, the fact that there is people where it's resonating and they're sending heartfelt shit.
Yeah.
And I've said it before, people from Australia, New York, Cali, other graffiti writers, other people that do music, other people involved in recovery. And I had a friend specifically say that he cried actually in one of the episodes where you were getting into some stuff.
Oh,
that's amazing.
Crying stuff. That's my
Justin's
nickname.
forte.
Job well done.
Crier.
It's your forte, but the friend that reached out to me that said that, it moved me that he said that because he's not that type, and it just shows me that he really was listening.
Yeah, well, we're all that type. We just don't want to be that type. We're taught not to be that type, but the truth is, we're all a bunch of emotional bitches.
I definitely can be. I'm happy people hit you up because the only person that hit me up was my mom. Like, where's the next episode?
Oh, I formed a friendship with a guy in Utah. He's like on the app now. I did a video call with him the other day.
That's amazing.
Eric, my man Eric.
Shout out Eric.
Shout out Eric.
Love you, brother.
Thanks.
But yeah,
Appreciate it,
with the
guys.
people reaching out, so to segue into Eric and Marshall being here, which I'm super excited that these guys are here because so when I moved up the first week in June, I pretty much met Marshall right after that, like within a week. Then I soon after met Eric, and I've gotten close with these guys. So it was when people reach out that you see personally in day-to-day life, they're like, oh, I get something out of that podcast. Like, I enjoy that. And then I got to know Eric and his background and being involved in music, and Marshall as well. We were talking about this before the podcast. I specifically, being a graffiti writer and a creative type, when I meet other addicts in recovery that have outlets and passions that they're into, there's an automatic bond, more so than just being like, oh, hey, you're an addict too.
Absolutely.
So I just kind of wanted to give you guys some time to basically say where, what brought you into this area and like what your recovery looks like.
You want to start, Eric? I actually don't know you that well, Eric. So looking forward to.
He's a Libra.
I actually am.
Are you?
Are you really?
Wait, who said that?
I did.
You saw it on my Facebook.
I swear to God.
I turned.
It's like you're lying.
I turned to age that I look much younger than on Saturday. So, yeah.
Really?
So is it your birthday Saturday? What are you trying to say there, buddy?
Libra season, baby.
Oh, nice.
I
How old were
I
you?
was like, am I a Libra? 28.
28.
That's
13.
amazing.
Oh yeah,
Cool.
you're a youngin'.
I was going to say 14, 15.
I get that usually.
It's a gift, though.
To be
It
generous.
is. You'll
It's,
enjoy it later. I'm
yeah,
40,
no, for sure.
and when I was
now
28, people thought I was 16. But
it's just now I get mad when people like even go above 25. I'm like, guess how old I am? I'm like, say 19. They're like, probably like 27. I'm like, fuck you.
Yeah.
That's no. So yeah, I'm a Libra first and foremost.
I'm an Aquarius.
Cancer.
You know,
Pisces.
Leo.
I'm getting like pissed. Horoscopes make me so mad.
really?
Yeah.
Yo, let me just give a
Fucking
plug for
Capricorn.
fucking astrology. Astrology is deeper than anybody believes, and
He wants
there's
to fight
way
you right
more
now.
to it. No, I'm serious. When you get into conspiracy theory and all that other shit, as crazy as it sounds, we've been taught to believe that astrology is like some woohoo bullshit, and it's like sort of keys to the universe type shit. People who can really read astrology, like.
I think it's more so like the daily horoscopes when it's
I
like
gotcha.
today you're gonna think about work, and I'm like, yeah.
Yeah, you can take anything like that and
You're
apply it
talking
to
about
your
the
life.
surface dumb bullshit that's in the
Yeah.
Boston Herald.
Yeah, it's like a fortune cookie.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
like, I get whatever. People are into it. it's not my place to. It is my place to talk shit about, but
Yeah, well, you're gonna be talking shit about me, so that's fine.
He's like,
I don't get genuinely.
when we
mad
take a
at it.
piss break, square up, son.
It is funny to me when people are like posting those, and it's like, yeah, well, you could like say that about anyone, but I believe that people who actually study it probably know the deeper components to it.
Yeah, I mean, if you really get into it, it's more than just. It's like, you know, it gets down to like where you were born, what time you were born, everything. Like you can get astrology reports, and it's a new moon today, right now, and like, you know, they say that you're more easily influenced, and they coordinate events based on where things are astrologically, because you can be more mentally manipulated at times. So there's just more to it. All I'm saying is there's more to it than people have been led to believe. And I know a few dudes. I know a dude in recovery who raps, actually, who's really into astrology, like hardcore, and he's a fucking mad interesting dude. We should probably have him on here at some point, actually. So, but anyways,
My man Eric will battle him.
yeah.
We'll talk shit.
Oh yeah.
My whole thing,
Yeah.
my whole thing is like, I'll leave it at this. What if I was like, oh, Libras are inquisitive and they're really withdrawn when in large groups, but when they're around small groups, they really show their sensitive side. I'm like, okay, so I want my kid to be like that. So the end of December, I'm going to get a girl pregnant. She'll give birth to them in the end of September, and then that kid will have those personality traits. So it's like perfect.
It's not that easy to get somebody pregnant. But you can try.
Super
You
sperm?
can try. I tried to coordinate with some people at one
Is
point.
that what you're saying?
Multiple
like, to line
people?
it up with you're like, I will not like let my kid be a Taurus, so we're
No,
taking
no.
this month off.
No, I didn't coordinate it in that manner, but I did try to coordinate, like, my boy's having a kid, so I'm gonna have a kid at the same time.
True.
And they're
Yeah,
like,
you guys definitely
they're
had a
like,
pack going with the kids.
yeah, we did. It was like they were like 5
like a
months
gang.
apart. So it's not just like shoot
Me
and
and Chris-
fucking bang. It's fucking happens. You know, for some people it does, but I'm just saying it's.
No, I'm blindly hating, to be honest. So like,
Yeah, no, it's all good.
All I did
I'm gonna
was
challenge you
guess.
on it, my friend.
Listen,
Yeah,
all
that's
I
what
It
we
did,
all went from guessing.
I just guessed what
once
sign
again,
he was.
Chris,
It's
fucking
a debate.
it'd be
dickhead.
like the whole episode now.
It's all good.
Sorry, I'm a psychic. My bad.
Remember when Chris didn't talk?
Yeah, I know. This is what happens.
I'm just such a fucking Aquarius to just guess my sign like that. Right?
His
Well-
Mercury must be in Gatorade. I just don't like when girls will wild out and make that the excuse. And I don't mean to be sexist or anything, but be like, sorry, the fucking moon's over there tonight, so like that's why I stabbed you.
Facts.
I
But
hear that.
to bring that back in, I know that you have a background in music. So does Marshall. You guys have a passion in these things. I have a passion in the arts. I have a passion in friends that have made it, or not even made it. There's some that have, but I mean, I have more amount of friends that have chased their passion, and that's what makes them happy. And I know we've talked about some things about what your background is, and once I heard that, it made me realize I had a little bit more in common with you. And when I was joking, saying he'd battle your friend, he has a background as a battle rapper. People need
Maybe
to hear
we'll
that
make it
stuff.
happen.
I was joking with him, saying he was going to
Legit.
spit, but I'm the same way. I don't like to be put on the spot of like, hey, draw something. Hey, can you do this? Hey,
Yeah.
can you do that?
Yeah, we'll get it in later though, probably.
Oh no, we were.
Yeah, we'll get it done during the show at some point.
My whole
It's
thing
all
is
good, my
I've
friend.
been contacted by so many people that come from what we all come from, whether it's people that are into music, people that are artists, people that are super spiritual, friends of mine that aren't spiritual, but heard Justin on an episode, really liked what he was tapping into. Friends that have hit me up about Chris fucking smashing into a fucking 2001 Camry and putting his cigarette out. Right? That story, they're like, dude, that kid's hilarious.
Yeah.
Like everybody that's been on here, someone's reached out and gotten something out of that. Like I've seen it, you know. I just more so wanted you guys to tap into like, what your journeys look like with being in this area. Like I know, Marshall just celebrated a year.
Yep.
Yes, sir.
That's huge. That it's huge. When we were out, the fucking meeting the other night, when you were like, hey, a year ago I was sleeping on that bench. Yeah. That's real shit. When you can point to like literally like, I'm getting this medallion, but a year ago on that fucking bench over there, I was sleeping there. That's recovery.
That's overcoming statistics too.
Yeah, it's
especially when it's huge. And I know how difficult it is too to get clean in an area where all you did was get high, because this is where my roots were planted, or in Nashua. you know. And that's what's inspiring, because I never thought I was going to get clean in this area. And I'm sure like you thought, like, I remember when you first like were getting clean and coming around, like you were afraid to run into people, just like I was afraid to get arrested because you had warrants. Same thing with me, and that's why we related right off the rip.
Absolutely.
You know,
Back to Eric.
yeah, my bad.
Set it off.
Who are you and what are you doing on this earth, my friend?
Jeez. My name's Eric. I'm chilling. Yeah, so I grew up in like Manchester, Connecticut, and I lived a pretty normal life. I got into hip hop, battle rap, like kind of like outside of high school, like wrapping up high school, and one of those things where you're just like it kind of stems like back to like the party days, and like even when I look at like when I first started rapping, it was like just like with the boys, like getting fucked up, throwing on beats and fucking rapping, because like we just were those type of kids. And you know, things went on, and I started finding like YouTube channels where there were leagues, and I really got into it. And then things kind of just started popping off, and I had some pretty sweet opportunities to travel the world and like get paid, and that lasted for about 5 years. My ultimate downfall was obviously my health conditions that came with the lifestyle that ultimately, you know, put a little bit of a halt on it. And I was kind of like thinking that when you were talking about like like a minute ago about like the arts and like the backgrounds we come from. And like a big thing, I guess, like part of, you know, why someone like myself and like Marshall connect, because we're like both into like, you know, punk rock music and rap and stuff like that. Like I know like being around those environments, like through my younger years, especially, you know, all my friends either played in, you know, bands that did house shows or they rapped. And like those two environments are so like, it's just everybody is drinking or smoking, or to what extent, you know, but there's very few people that are into these cultures, and it gets glorified, you know, like especially in rap. You hear it in rap music, you see it, you know, if you go to a rap show, everyone's smoking pot and fucking passing around bottles and stuff like that. So for a long time, like I felt like I had to like uphold that image, you know, and I didn't like admitting that I was having problems, you know, when it was not so severe, you know, and I wouldn't want to be like, oh, I need to get fucking sober. I need to like clean up my act because I'm getting sick. I'm fucking things up. I'm having to leave jobs, you know, I'm having to go to the hospital every couple months. And when I came into recovery, it felt like there weren't a lot of people who really were like, everyone like enjoys music to a certain extent, but like I'm like obsessed with it, you know, and those things kind of come far and few between, where you find people who are like artists themselves. Like everyone has their hobbies and passions, but it's just like something I've noticed around here that's like not as many. And like this is like one dude that like I think like right off the rip, I don't even know like when we met, but it was at like
It was outside the Hudson NA meeting. You had a Jesus Pete's hoodie on. I was like, hey,
yeah,
cool shirt.
And like in
Cool shirt.
Yeah,
Karate in the
it's like-
basement.
Did we just
That's
become best friends?
Yeah.
yeah, like you see
100%
someone
did.
that's rocking something like kind of niche, and you're like, all right, this like
Yeah.
kind of knows what's up.
I fuck with them.
And like that doesn't happen a lot here. Like I feel like you know, the baseline of recovery is like we share a common disease and we're headed towards a common goal. So like you can get along with everyone on that aspect. There's always like something to talk about, you know, when you're in treatment together and you're in sober living together, because recovery is one of those things that like I think we can all like talk about, whether it's like the good parts of it or the bad parts of it. But I've noticed like in my time in Nashua where I first came up, and like I just felt like everyone that I lived in PHP with, like we were all just in groups together and at the house together all day, so everyone kind of became boys. But now that I guess I can kind of like choose more so who I get to like surround myself in my free time when I'm trying to get away from just talking about like step works and like meeting and all that stuff all the time, that it is like cool that there's people that you can really just like put that away and like feel like you can discuss your hobbies and your passions without having to drop back to being a drug addict or an alcoholic or
Oh.
anything like that.
I relate with that 100%. There's only so much. Like we work in treatment, right?
Yeah.
Between groups, actual NA meetings, running a fire pit meeting, whatever it is, right? Sometimes I just need, and these guys know me forever. Sometimes some guys like to fish, hunt, do whatever. I paint and create. And if I'm not making money, I just go and do my thing. That's my thing. I can't always, we didn't get clean to just fucking talk about step work.
No, but
And
the problem is that recovery these days has become very dogmatic, where it's like fucking everybody just wants to talk about step work or this or that, when like recovery actually is a philosophy of life, and it's about sharing who you are. So when it becomes more about who the fuck you are, then you can share whatever you want.
100%.
You know what I mean? It doesn't have to be just about like this, like the fucking
It's not the
rigid,
rigid, like-
cookie cutter, like you got to do this, you got to do that. That's all fucking some ego bullshit that we've brought into recovery, that is like mankind beliefs that if you really got into the program and broke it down, it has nothing to do with the program.
Yeah.
We just brought it in. So in my opinion, recovery is a philosophy of a way of living, a way of looking at life differently. I mean, it's just literally changing your perception, gaining some consciousness about what is and how you're looking at things and opportunities, and then it's just about living your life. You know what I mean? And
Well, like
inviting
he's saying,
some-
like Eric's saying too, with the step where it's like, yes, I'm a firm believer that is important, but me painting, me clicking with other guys that are super into music, right? That is part of my recovery, right? Working out, trying to eat better. That's been my biggest thing. We just said we're always trying to evolve into something. I remember being in treatment and you're like, okay, are these my boys? Like I'm in PHP or I was in Halfway House. It's not PHP, but you're kind of forced to be around those guys.
Yeah.
Then as I started to stay clean and life fucking opened up and I'm like, oh shit, I can travel and paint. I can hang with this one. I can hang. Because I can tell you right now, the second I realized that you have a background, it made me be drawn to you even more. Because there's certain people you fuck with when you see them, you dap them up. You just like their vibe.
And it's funny because like I don't like, sometimes it's one of those things that like I would say people glorify, or I know I'm like guilty of it sometimes, when you like are with someone in recovery that you're kicking it with and you're like, dude, like imagine if like before all this we were just like partying together, like that shit would have been so sick. Like but it's the same concept where it's like, oh, this is like someone that like I would rock with, like even if this wasn't all here. And like this all here is what brought us together. But you know, it's cool that the longer you stick around in recovery, you get to kind of like form a tribe of people that you have that relationship with. But then like everyone else, like I'll still be down to like talk about that type of shit with people. Like I have no problem talking to the next guy about recovery, but it is cool like just to realize like how broad of a spectrum it is and like kind of pick from that. And, you just like find your group of people, and you like forget that like you like knew them through recovery. Like I feel like we just been like boys our whole life. This is like the type of shit we'd have been like joking around about since, you know, the simpler times.
But I feel like you appreciate the friendship more in recovery.
Yeah.
Kindred spirits. I feel blessed to have met the people I've met, like getting clean this time. Like it seems so serendipitous and just like, I don't know. It just felt like, fuck yeah, I'm blessed. Like I thank God for that. Because that's like a lot of the time what's kept me in the game, to be honest with you. So.
Well, I remember when I first met you, you know, we met at the house, and sometimes all it is a matter of someone sharing where they're at for the day. And I can honestly say that I had never met Marshall before. But it was something about some people just get shit off their chest. They own their truth. They have a certain vibe to them. And I was like, there's something up with that kid. And we've gotten closer since then, you know. And then the fire pit meeting, and these guys come, you know, and what made me really think last night, too, because some guys were like, oh, it's nice seeing Chris there, too. And I was like, he's actually the one that started that, you know, and to see what it fucking had turned into, and then seeing you come there, and then that's what made me think of asking these guys to come on. Because I've seen you guys' bond, these two.
It's tight.
Well, no, it reminds me of like me and Chris or Justin. I clicked with Justin fucking years ago coming to meetings. You know what I mean?
Yeah. But we share stuff in common. I mean, we share stuff in common outside of meetings too.
Oh,
Same-
we played ball for years.
Yeah, we played ball for years, and we've done different stuff. So
The friendships
I get that.
The
I mean,
friendships
it's
I've
like-
gotten from recovery I wouldn't trade for the world. And I know it's like really cliche and like corny, but it's 100% true because thinking back on it, right? And I'm kind of jealous when you're talking about like your love for music and rap and everything because if I look back at it, right, I had like a passion for like stuff when I was
Chris
younger.
is actually a musician.
Yeah, I used to be. I sold all my shit for drugs though. When I was
Do
younger.
you want to sing
Well,
right now?
Feel that?
No, but you know, like
What's your
Chris was
plan?
in a boy band.
yeah, I still got the dance moves down. No, I mean, like the last like I would say 8 years of me using or the 12, like it was just about the next one, the grind. So it's like I lost not just my identity, but like hobbies and everything. And so it was really tough because I fell into the mold of like work, like especially getting a job in recovery when I was in early recovery. Like it just became like that was the topic of conversation. I remember hanging out with like, you know, Craig and Nick and other people, and they'd be like, "Dude, like we're not on meeting right now." You know, like what do you want? Like let's have a conversation. It was just about, you know, me finding who I was, and then when you find like your tribe, right? Like you said, like there's no self-seeking motives. It's like what can we do to build each other up? And it's like I felt the same way. There's some people I met. I'm like, dude, if we met when we were getting fucked up, this would be a crazy experience, right? But I think that's just human. Like when you're getting clean, like that's just like a common like brief thought, you know. But like I'm still trying to find out who I am and like what my hobbies are, and that's like me trying new things.
Well, so speaking of hobbies, because I know you kind of keep that in the past almost from what I've talked to you about as far as like you're not engaged in battle rap anymore. But my question is, do you write it all? Like, do you do anything with music now? Because I know for me, like my passion's my artwork, and that doesn't stop. Like I'm always working on something.
Not really, to be honest. But,
What about our DMs, dude? We
Yeah.
rap together all day.
yeah, we fuck around, but like for me, it's just it takes a lot of like effort and energy to, I guess like put together, you know, the performances I did do, and I'm a big part of it for me. I'm not gonna lie, as much as I love rap and the art of it, like a lot of the experience to me was like, oh, I'm gonna go to this city and like spit this fucking 10 minutes worth of man poems, as we call them, and then like we're gonna fucking tear it up, you know. So it was something now where I'm like, okay, like when people, and I've gotten like offers to still travel around like since I've came up here, but it's not something that I right now at this moment where I'm like, oh, I gotta fucking book this battle out in Cali, because I go out there and then like I do my shit, and then it's just like a bunch of dudes, you know, smoking weed for the rest of the weekend, and I'm like, this is like,
Yeah, you've lost the passion for it, kind of.
Yeah,
what it
you found
seems
something
like.
you're passionate and good at, but you also fell in love with the culture, which I understand.
yeah. So like, I'm not to say, and I've done like a couple of battles, like when I was like half-ass sober, like not in recovery, but like I can do it, and it's not something that like I need the drugs to actually get in my creative space for it. But yeah, like as far as the scene, it's just been, and just like with like work and like the amount of time I have to myself to set aside for shit like that, I'm like very obsessive and like a perfectionist in my head, where I know that like if I booked a battle and I had, you know, a couple weeks to write like 10 minutes worth of fucking bars, like it would be like everything else goes off the table at that point.
Yeah.
And it's like an addictive, you know, it's like part of my personality. So I don't know, down the line, and so we talk about like fucking around and just making music, and like I play drums too, and that's been something that like I would like to get back into, because I miss like other components of music and not just like a cappella.
That's what I'm. That's what I'm getting at, because
Yeah.
I'm very big on like, what is it that you're into? Like these guys still play ball. I have a fucking torn ACL. That was a huge part of my recovery, was playing sports, and I had to switch into different things. So I'm always trying to ask guys like, what are you tapping into as far as creative outlets, especially knowing that you have a creative background, because like you're saying, it isn't always like just the surface bullshit of like, hey, you're doing this, are you writing, and I don't even mean to say it like that. I guess that sounds negative, saying surface bullshit, but I just mean like that gets monotonous, even for someone that enjoys recovery. I think that aspect gets monotonous, and I enjoy being creative. Like I just did fucking art therapy downstairs, and one of my favorite things is seeing people that don't even really have an interest in art, and maybe I show them something that I've done, right? And they're like, oh, that's really cool. I wish I could do that. And that's my favorite thing, is I say, you wish you could do it, but I wish I could do it when I was a kid. I wasn't born with this talent.
Yeah.
And I became that. And I was telling these guys before, I literally, as a fucking 10, 11-year-old kid, was admired graffiti, right? I loved it, just like I know you guys love music. And I wanted to become that. And that's what I fucking did. And at 40, I still paint. Imagine that. And I still feel like a kid. Like I'm still the kid that comes home with the crayon drawing and puts it on the fridge, you know? Like I'm still the guy that does stuff and show my boys like, hey, look at what I painted. It was just, I'm like a big kid. So I know, I'm just interested in you guys' path with your recovery because I know that you're into music.
Well, like you just said about like you're doing art downstairs and stuff like that and showing someone and like them like getting excited. It's like be inspired others and vice versa, right? And I guess my question to like you guys, anyone really, like especially if like, you know, the culture, right? Graffiti culture, you know, obviously there's going to be drugs or alcohol involved. Same thing with like music. But like, do you think while getting clean, is there any part of you that's like, I can't do it, not just because of the culture, but because you're used to being on ABC or A, B, C, and D? Like, is there like any part of you that's like, I don't think I can do it?
At first, I didn't.
Yeah.
But honestly, as like time's gone on, like I feel like I was like, oh, like when I'm drunk, I can be more comfortable to perform, and when I smoke pot, and take Adderall or whatever, I can think better and think of better rhymes to write. But like that's just like out the window because I know I've done it completely sober and I can still write fire. And but I don't know, like
Talk your shit,
for
boy.
what it is now, it's like battle rap in particular is very deadline based, and that's just not something that I'm like too hype on now. Whereas like I would much rather take like a casual approach to like making music where you can just like jam and like shoot the shit and not have to be like, oh, I have to have this, that, and the third done by this date, and then I have to fly out there, and then it's like it's just kind of overwhelming.
I completely fuck with it because at one point in my life, drugs and alcohol, the way that I painted, I also risked my life.
Yeah.
Dead ass. Like I would paint and do while out and do all this crazy shit. And now I like creating and doing a group like that. When I first thought of it, it kind of scared me. You know what I mean? Because I'm like, I'm not an art teacher. And it's not about being that. It's about showing someone. And it reminds me of how like in recovery, you try to teach someone, speak your truth. You can't fuck it up. Trust me. Just be truthful. You can't fuck it up. So when I approach them with, I'll lean, you know, push over like canvases and stuff and go, paint something like, I'm going to fuck it up. I'm like, I promise you, you will not fuck it up. Just get the paint on the canvas. And then you see guys and girls starting to fucking do it and they enjoy it, right? Because you get them out of their comfort zone. You know, because like Chris is asking, for the life of me was like, I'm a horrible artist if I'm not on drugs. I'm a horrible artist if I'm not drinking. And I was like scared because I would just, and the flip side is that's why there's a lot of musicians and famous artists and stuff that they didn't make it past 30 and they fucking made epic music and epic art, right? And you do tap into some shit. However, the lie is that you can't do that.
Yeah, it's
And
a lie, but at
it's
the
a lie.
same note, it is a new experience. You still have your skills, but doing it not
Yes,
drunk.
you have to hone them. You have to re-hone them. Like
Exactly.
Jimmy Snap, like shout out to Jimmy Snap.
Yeah.
When he got clean and went back to tattooing, he literally had to, and he talks about it in his story, is that he had to retrain himself how to tattoo.
Yep.
And I'm here to also tell you that I personally shattered the fucking illusion that I wasn't that good at painting and being creative unless I was on drugs. Because everything positive I ever did with my artwork came while I was in recovery. Any magazine I made it in, anything with Street Smart clothing and doing fashion shows. And I'd done stuff for DJ Khaled and fucking Nina Sky and did haircuts for Lady Gaga. And the list goes on of things that I did too. That's why when he said that and I got to tap into what his background is, I was like, oh, we got a lot more in common to talk about. And other people need to fucking hear that. Because there's other people out there that reach out that don't think that they can write music. They don't think that they can paint. They don't think that they can play fucking basketball in a men's league or whatever unless they're fucked up. And I'm here to tell you and tell whoever's listening that that's a fucking lie.
Yep.
It's 100% a fucking
No,
lie,
it is.
man.
Yeah,
But it's just a experience in the new experience.
Yeah.
Clean. It's like it's going to be a new. I worked with a recovery coach, like a famous artist at one point. It was a barrier. You know what I mean? He had been used to doing something forever in a certain capacity, and he was obviously very talented. And even in that capacity, it did help him. I'm not going to fucking lie and say it didn't. Do you know what I mean? So it's like,
Yeah.
it's
yeah.
interesting because recovery, it's like we want to be like, oh, you can do everything better clean. It's like, well, I don't know about that. Do you know what I mean? Like, but all it's really doing when you're getting drunk, it's just taking the fucking wall down. That's
Yes.
what we're doing in recovery anyways. It's
Yeah.
like taking the wall down and just trying to fucking be, because it's cool that you can do it. Like, it's obvious that you can do it, But can you do it with the wall down? Yes, you can, but it's about taking the wall down and just putting yourself out there. And that's kind of the difference in perspective a little bit. That's like what recovery is compared to what recovery isn't. It's like you just talked about traveling around the world and having all these cool experiences, which is, I want to hear more about, to be honest. But it's like, if you're doing that in a state of mind where you're not really enjoying it, then the experience is lost.
Yeah, and it's easy to look at like the parts that you see where you put on a performance and it's good, or you write something, but like then the next day I'm a complete fucking mess, like in a hospital bed with a fucking shit.
So were you truly happy
You know what I'm
doing that
saying?
though?
Like, I think in my own head, in my own disease, like I was just so, just like making excuses to the fact of like, this is why I'm fucking shit up, and I didn't really like have knowledge about the path I was going down and like how, I had no control over it. So like looking back, I can be like, oh shit, and I can see like if I had been in recovery or not been, wilding out from high school on, maybe I would have been able to capitalize on a lot more opportunities, and I would have been able to have more on my plate that I could handle, as opposed to where I like wouldn't take on as much of a workload because I wanted to still have time to party on the weekends and shit like that and push it off. But at the same time, like I don't like to play the like what if game. Like I am 100% like anything that led me to this point. Some of it sucks, and I don't like how I treated my body, but there are also like a lot of people that I've met and experiences that like it's part of my journey. So like.
I also think that if you're participating in something that you're passionate about, there's something spiritual in nature about that. I do think that there's, obviously with music, it opens people up and a lot of people connect on a musical basis. But when you talk about art and other things, there's something, to me, I think there's something spiritual in nature that connects people with music, with other stuff, when you can just step out and do stuff like that. And so you can tap into that while you're doing it. But then obviously, if you look at recovery and the ego and who we are, it's like, are we creating an image of ourselves? Or are we just solely just being able to be who we are? And it's very easy to fall into the trap of, stepping on a stage, having a performance, but then creating a version of yourself that is, not really who you are. You're fucking harming yourself, and you're doing all, you know what I mean? You're doing all this negative shit that doesn't serve. I mean, it does serve. I agree with you. I don't really believe that any experience is in jest. It's like if we had experiences, we've had them for a reason, to learn from them. Yeah. But that's ultimately what recovery is supposed to teach you, is like we start to view it differently, and that what are our experiences and what are we supposed to learn from them, and how are we supposed to go from here. I would think that's how I live it today. It changes my perception about anything happening in my life. Life's fucking there to teach you shit. Or are you just fucking dealing with life, trying to fucking survive and get through and make it to the next day? It's like, that's not really,
it's not living.
That's not living. Exactly. That's not what we're supposed to be doing. But that's what most of us have been taught, is the truth of the matter. That's what our society kind of fucking teaches us. Just put your shit together, fucking, you know what I mean?
Fall into routine.
Do what you're supposed to, blah, 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 blah. And it doesn't empower people to really be who they are, express who they are, so.
Now, I know you have a background as well, and you play the guitar?
I play guitar, bass, sing. That's what I
Everything.
focused on at the end of it. I produce audio engineering. I've been in like some bands. I rap as well. I never like made it because of drugs and alcohol. Like I did play at the Middle East downstairs. I did play a couple other spots. But once I started to pursue it, like I was, insecurities held me back. And my parents are both professional musicians, and they've been telling me you're talented since day one. But I just, the voice in my head told me otherwise, and I kind of let insecurities hold me back my whole life. This thing sounds kind of fucked up. So anyways, once I started doing like opiates, that's what fucked me up in my early 20s, because I was kind of a late bloomer, considering like a lot of people you meet nowadays, they started when they were like 18 or something. I broke both my arms, and they put me on meds, and I didn't take them as prescribed, so I can't blame. Yeah, it didn't say take by nose, 4 every 3 minutes.
So you don't crush these up.
Yeah, and I specifically told them I was allergic to Tylenol. Like
Yeah.
I started doing drugs early. I was always an addict. Like I got suspended for robo tripping in high school, like at school. So
Oh yeah, we did that.
that's what type of shit I was on. And but yeah, I have a background in music. It's my like only passion. Sometimes in like a self-deprecating fashion, I'll say it's the only thing I'm good at. It's just what I love. I'm obsessed with it. I have been since I was a little kid. Like I said, it's what my parents do. And yeah, it's my life. And drugs, like actually in group one time, I heard Chris say something about like close your eyes and get in touch with your spirit. Like I teared up a little bit because like for me, spirituality, or what my definition of it is, or like getting in touch with it, it's like I lost my soul. I sold like my dream guitar for $50 and it was like 1,700. I sold all my shit. I sold my computer, my iMac, which is where I I had session files, 10,000 of them. I would produce for other people. They'd pay me to do it. I sold that for $150. It cost me 2,000. So like I sold my soul. I gave it away. I lost complete connection with that, and I was just a shell. So like early on, like when it clicked, when I decided like I want to do this, it's not just to get the law off my ass. It's not just to appease everybody. It was like when I realized it was like a way I could get in touch with myself again. Like fuck being a good person and all that shit. I really care about like getting in touch with myself, which through that I am a good person. Fundamentally, like I was born that way or whatever. But like just the idea of being able to get back in touch with myself and have like confidence again. That meant the world. And when we did those Mine movies and shit, I never got to play Mine, but like that was, and actually, no, I didn't offer to play Mine because I was embarrassed, insecure, but like making that for me was fucking huge. Like I like, I cried to myself when I did that because I was like, I don't know, it was just some real shit. And, so yeah, I got back into like it. I've been like writing and I've been like trying to carve out like some sort of a path because I kind of threw it all away. If I had really worked at it in the past, I'm that what if thing, I might have been able to do something. Like I have friends that became successful in various capacities, and I have like I'm very blessed to have like huge resources, like my family and stuff. My dad's like played on the Grammys, on Jimmy Kimmel, Jimmy Fallon. I'm not gonna say who he plays for because like, you know what I mean. I don't want that. I can't talk about that shit on the internet. Yeah. And that's out of respect for him. But like he did it, but he really tried super hard. Like he worked at it every day of his life. So yeah, I mean, but and my goal is to like incorporate it like with what you do, art therapy. Like I think what you do, you were saying you're not an art teacher. I feel like that's more beneficial than like what an art teacher did because the art teacher doesn't really like, they don't like teach you shit. You're like invoking someone's like ability to create with what you do. And I think that's like way more important. So like, soon I'm taking my CRSW, I think it's called.
Yep.
Yeah.
I just signed up for that shit.
Yep.
Fuck yeah.
Because I wanna fucking have some sort of a pitch, or I wanna be like, I don't know, valuable. I know I am.
Oh, 100%. The reason why I'm asking that is because I know you have a passion with that. I'm just wondering what it looks like now, and then hearing someone say that when he said path, and you're about path and purpose. I've been about my graffiti, my artwork for years, and it wasn't until honestly that I relapsed with all the time and then came back where I was like, I'm gonna fucking merge both. Like what I do now, right? And we were talking about this in group this morning, and it made me think. I forget what we were talking about, but I was just in group, and it made me think of what I'm doing now at 40, right? Between being creative and doing artwork and working in recovery. I've been striving for and on that path for a while, and that's the shit that when I think negatively sometimes from day to day, I'm like, I say, shut the fuck up.
Yeah.
I tell my negative self-talk to shut the fuck up because I'm doing what I was striving for. Hearing Marshall say that he wants to do that, you could be running a group with music.
Yeah, I mean, I need to talk to you guys anyways because I got the platform Ascend, and I actually have a goal of having like some fucking music meetings on there for people in recovery. You guys can collaborate, and then I even have live streams. So like literally you guys can collaborate on doing music and then you can schedule, you can pop off with scheduling live streams.
They're opening like whole recovery centers now, like that are like based on like
Yeah.
music therapy and like arts, like just for that specific. Like
Yeah, no, they got one down in, what's it called? Right Turn?
someone. Was
Yeah,
talking-
yeah.
is that
It's
it?
in like Nashville or
Well,
something.
now that I started
No,
doing that
Yeah, this one's in Mass.
on Thursdays
really?
like this, now I've been thinking of other ways to fucking widen that creativity. You know what I mean?
No, 100%.
You can bring that to any community. Like I'm sure that like we talk about how it's far and few between, but there's there's so many people in recovery in Nashville. You know, you hear kids that fucking bring their guitars into fucking PHP, and
Yeah.
that like to fucking rap and do all these things.
I mean, I
Or
want to take it
draw
on a
and
level
paint,
to
like,
it
it's-
because my main medium is spray paint. So
Yeah.
if I could do that outside with canvases with kids, I mean, that would be amazing.
Yeah, and
But on the app, we can pull people from all around the world, really.
Think
You
about
know what I
those-
mean? So
Think about the rec
I'm gonna
center.
show it to you guys.
Well,
That's
You
my
know what
goal.
I mean? The rec center, because your art is obviously going to be like around the whole entire thing, and there's going to be a stage, like there's going to be poetry nights, there's going to be music, places like an outlet
yeah.
for people to get to, and that's going to be amazing for you because they're going to see you. They're going to be like, Mark's got this much time. They're going to say Eric's got this much time, and they're going to see like what you're passionate about, and you're going to help them get out of their
well, it's
shell.
growing into something where there's that is a avenue of recovery.
Yeah.
It's music. It's art.
no, but it's got to be a safe avenue too,
Yes.
because
Yeah.
like you're talking about, you know what I mean. You don't want to just go on the road by yourself and
Smoking
fucking,
blunts and drinking
you know,
bottles,
so
you know.
And I can relate. I honestly can relate with that as far because I had a lot of friends that DJ'd and I've been to battles, and that's why I was like, oh, that's cool. Like to know that he comes from that. I've actually spun a couple times for battles where I got to pick the instrumentals that were going on, and in that lifestyle at the Middle East, like my boys have performed there so many. It's so negative, and when I first got clean years ago, I tried going to some of those shows, and it's a lot of like, hey man, you're doing good, and then those conversations wear off, and then it's, hey man, you want to drink?
yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Hey man, you want to smoke this? And I, not that that was tempting at the time, but I didn't like the way that I felt in that environment. So I mean, I completely understand like what you're saying, not safe, because for me it's just not. It's a very negative fucking energy.
Right.
Where I'm at now and being 40 and just have done this like my whole life and involved in recovery, a rec center, I want to, like this art therapy thing that I'm doing, it's been opening my mind in ways where I'm like, holy shit, like teaching people how to approach canvases that actually say, I would never be able to do artwork. And I'm sure you could do that with music.
Teaching people how to express themselves, not just with words, but like with
Because
art,
people are
music,
saying they can't
everything.
do it. If I had
Yeah.
a nickel for every time someone said, all I can do is draw stick figures. And I say, when I started, my shit didn't look like this. I could only draw stick figures. But I put the effort into it. Or when they say, oh, you guys speak so passionately. When you guys are on the podcast, you speak so fluently of your feelings. I was the guy in group in a fucking halfway house years ago when they called on me. And I'm like, dude, I was so full of shit that I would sweat instantly when they called me. And I'm just sitting there like, oh, my God.
Anonymity.
Well, I don't know how to, you know what I mean? Yeah, the word, we were joking about anonymity. I remember someone handing me that reading at a meeting years ago, and I'm like, I can't tell you how many times I came up with a word that was not anonymity, but it sounded like it. And now it's like,
Eminem.
Yeah.
yeah, and now you just speak fluently, and you had to perfect your craft, so to speak. Like, you have to learn how to speak fucking truthful. I had to learn how to do artwork that I liked without shit in me. You have to learn to write music. Like, that's cool that you have a background like that, because it was taking your CRSW, that can be an avenue, that can be your pitch that you're saying.
Right. Well, I've also always had this idea in the back of my head, and my mom would tell me since I was young, because I didn't graduate high school. I spent my whole adolescence in like psych wards because for stupid shit like fist fighting and stuff, but it was like in the middle of class and stuff like that. So I was that guy, and it was because people used to like make fun of me for fucking wearing tight pants and shit like that. I fought for the rights for kids to do that nowadays. But
Thank you. I appreciate that.
I got
I
you.
thank
Chris
you.
is
I thank you. There we go.
very
Thank
appreciative
you.
of that.
But
Tap
anyways,
is well deserved.
but no, she always said that she thought I could help somebody. You know, it's kind of what you tell someone that's like fucked up. Like, you could probably help somebody someday.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's like the only good spin on it. It's like, I'm sorry that they took your shoelaces and you're gonna be eating applesauce for the next 3 weeks in a mental hospital, but like, you could help someone one day. Nah, but like, I've always thought that was like something, because my original dream with music is like, I'm gonna be a fucking front man to a hardcore band. I'm gonna get sick tattoos and like be cool. And that, not to give up on that, but like, that ship has sailed, and that's like there's no longevity in that. And I wanted that for like ego and stuff. That was like, that would have been like my fuck you to the people that were like, you're never
not gonna make
Like,
it. Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah.
And I'm not really so much about giving fuck yous anymore. I mean, I still got them for sure, but like,
Oh, yeah, you got to keep a bag of fuck yous. Yeah.
always
Yeah.
on deck. But-
CBD infused.
oh shit. But yeah, so I've always thought I could help people and I'd be useful in that. And I think like a marriage of those two things, of arts, passion, because I just love art in general. I'm like, music is like where I kind of, that's like my forte, but like I love it all. And I think that there's something really valuable in someone like finding their passion or reconnecting with their passion in early recovery and having a creative space. I've seen actually when you mentioned the rec center, that's funny because like I've always thought Nashua should have one. Like I moved here 4 years ago. I'm from the South Shore of Mass, and like I had seen them in other areas, and I thought they were like a safe place and like a cool concept. I've always thought they should have one out here. So I've thought a marriage of that, like
Ours is gonna be like a recovery bar. I
It'd
don't.
be sick though.
Red Bulls.
Let's not call it rec. I feel like a rec center is like for like 12
Like a gymnasium?
Like, all right,
Boys
guys.
and Girls Club.
But not this
Let's
rec.
go.
Not this rec center though.
Nah, it's gonna be like it's gonna be a.
It's
Why, we can't play
it's a
dodgeball
different
there?
type.
We're not
It's,
playing dodgeball there.
it's going to be called it's going to be WRECK
The
rec.
rec
You know what I mean?
center.
Catch and rec. You know what I'm saying?
That's already
Yeah.
Yo, that's definitely happening.
But
Yeah.
it's true because like I work in treatment myself, and like I have like kids that come in, and like I'll see, like I was saying before, the kid that brings his guitar. There every couple months you get that one kid or the kid that's in his room like all day like drawing on a pen and pad, and it's like I love that you're into this, and like it's cool that we can talk about this when we're shooting the shit, and I don't have to fucking have you taking your meds or whatever, and I'm just like, so how was group today? I can be like, oh, like this fucking album dropped, like you check it out yet? But then like if it would be cool if we could have like a place like to direct them where it's like, oh, we have this shit every Wednesday night where you can like there's like a house drum set, and then other kids can come and jam, or like there's a fucking studio where there's a bunch of canvases where the kids that want to draw can just, and it's like just a spot for people to let loose,
So you just triggered just a thought just popped into my head. So we've had numerous clients come through that they have a passion for music, and during med time, which is funny you said, the ones that are drawn to you, right? They come to me, they ask me about my artwork because they're into music, so it's kind of goes. Mm-hmm. I've done creative writing assignments for guys where they're like, I just, I don't know what step work's about. I keep hearing step work. What is that about? I'm like, well, basically it's a blueprint for a new life. It's the simplest way to put it to someone that doesn't know what it is, right? And I'll say, you down to do a creative writing assignment? And the few guys that have done this are like, yeah. And I was, well, what does it look like? I say, you heard of the word powerlessness, right? Do a 16-bar verse on powerlessness, right?
Dude, we had a haiku group once when
But
I was
someone
in
did it-
PHP. I
but-
was so hyped.
Real quick. So, but he did it the other day, right? I said, I want a 16-bar verse on powerlessness. No, I'm sorry, on addiction. 4 hours later, the kid texted me with it done. I got chills just reading it,
Yeah.
right?
Well, and beyond that, if he performed it, it's like you don't understand too. You're talking about people who are creative, but if you just drop bars here, it opens us all up, dude.
Yeah.
Like it
Oh,
like
yeah.
instantly opens up the room. When we have somebody whip out their guitar and just sing,
Oh, yeah.
all of a sudden everybody's walls come down.
Oh, yeah.
Everybody's like in the vibe of like, you know what I mean? You just made it a safe place for everybody to just be comfortable with who they are. So like people who are creative, they do have a gift because the second that you go there, instantly it's like a fucking safe place for everyone. That's what I like about it. When-
100%.
we've had it happen multiple times at our center. Obviously, people bring in their guitars, and we got a bunch of musicians right now. Like,
Shout
I want
out
to give
Phil.
I want to give three. Kyle,
Yep.
Matt, Phil.
Yeah.
Okay. Matt played a song at the end of the fire pit a couple weeks ago.
That was
and
dope.
You just said it, and it was a just dope vibe, and it was a original piece and very moving. People teared up. Phil with his comedy, and he also plays the guitar. And Kyle is the one that I, shout out to Kyle because he's been reaching out to me. And
He put a
these
video
guys,
out.
but these guys reach out. These guys are doing it, and they're gravitating towards creative aspects of recovery because
Yeah.
some people can't just sit in group and be like, we're going to talk about goals today or we're going to fucking blah, blah, blah. Their head is not, it reminds me of being in school. When I was a kid, was part of it that I was just a young fucking punk kid? Yes. But I was creative even back then. I'd been involved in graffiti. I didn't care about listening to the fucking French War. You know what I was doing? I was smoking weed and going and paint fucking trains.
Yeah.
And this is my life, you know what I'm saying? And now I've been able to take that. Yes, I got in trouble and did some fucking delinquent shit when I was a kid, but it's turned into, imagine being able to tap into that to see a fucking 21-year-old kid that, just fucking died a couple weeks ago, make it to treatment, and then you can possibly write. You're into rapping. You can possibly write your step work in a fucking creative outlet. Who thought? Because that was an approach to me years ago.
yeah, no, for
To
sure.
be a creative way to write steps?
Yeah.
Well, to help you get into the way you actually write steps.
But we
not
got to broaden the perspective a little
Yes.
bit. It's like, you know what I mean? We can have some meetings that aren't AANA. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like, I love A and NA, but they're
Yeah.
they have what they do and how it is, and like we're
Yes.
not bringing our guitars in there, so
Yeah.
we're gonna fucking create some. You know what I mean? We're just gonna create some new meetings. It's all good. It doesn't need to be fucking anti. You know.
Yeah.
It's like we live in a space today that we can broaden our.
Absolutely.
If anything, I feel like COVID has actually helped kind of fucking broaden the perspective a little bit and kind
Well,
of
I'll tell
get
you
out
what,
of.
It's brought everyone closer too. I
It's
think.
made the meetings that are open more
Fire.
intimate.
Yeah.
Fire, literally.
Yeah.
Which, because it's people are huddled around and you can hear a fucking pin drop. And I get the chills. I mean, last week's was super fucking emotional with Marcus passing.
R.I.P. Marcus.
Yeah.
R.I.P. Marcus. And it was really emotional. And then this week, there was a point where I could only hear, like in between someone talking, I could only hear the crackle of the fire.
That was dope.
And I'm being real right now. I got the chills, and I was just sitting there. I was like, holy shit, this thing's turned into a whole vibe. Because you're in the moment, and whoever's speaking, that's the only fucking voice you hear. There's no crosstalk. There's no someone over here. And it's kind of a creative meeting. It's not a literature-based meeting. It's not a AA or NA. It's just people that want to fucking better their life, that are putting their heart and soul into the meeting and seeing what it's grown into. Because everyone, that's why I'm like, glad you're going. Hope to see you next week. Well, with you, hey, I hope you come. With you, right? I said it to him like, yo, you come on.
Yeah, I don't like that I work Wednesdays because that's been like something that I've like looking from the outside. I'm just like,
Yeah,
like
I gotta get
from
over that
behind the
myself.
For real.
from behind the prison bars, like looking out into the fucking.
Well, the thing is, it is kind of on a ticking time here because it is
Yeah.
going to get super cold, and it's going to be tough to pull it off. But I think we can still ride out this next month.
It's crazy because COVID, like everyone, everything shutting down, freaking out, meetings. I was like, oh, I'll be good. But I remember like 2 weeks in, I'm like, dude, I need a fucking meeting, And then it's like meetings when they first started opening, people would travel back when AA first started, before the literature was even written, travel hundreds of miles just to come and gather at someone's house, talk to their sponsor, get a sponsor, get through the steps immediately and pass the message on and pass it along as quickly as possible. And that's how meetings were, like little speakeasies, just like the speakeasy bars. They were like, it was by word of mouth. And that's how it started, like with the fire pit and what it grew into. I told you, I was dead ass serious when I went last Wednesday. One, I needed it because, the news about Marcus. And, when I arrived, I tried to sneak in. And of course, you're like, oh, yeah, like, and then you got clients like, oh, Chris is here. And it's like, I didn't want to be seen, but I'm happy I did. And I was looking around and like, I don't get emotional. Like, what gets me emotional is like, when I see moms cry or like when I see Justin tear up, I'm like, oh, here we go. But I was standing there with my hood on and everything. I'm like, this is the most beautiful thing. Because what started off as like guys needing a meeting and needing to feel connected, right? Into like it opening up to the community and there being 50 people. And I was like, holy shit. I'm like, I can't believe I haven't been back here. And I'm going every single week because it's just a feeling.
I read in a book, one of the ways God communicates with us is through feelings. We love to deny him. You know what I mean?
You're so into
But you can take the fucking walls down and just let shit be. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like, ultimately, it's what we're supposed to be doing. And I'm not saying we do achieve it sometimes in AA and NA, but sometimes there's a lot of fear in AA and NA. You know what I mean? There's just a lot of walls that we walk into a meeting and there's 100 people there and it's easier to just throw up the fucking walls of like, who are these people and what's going on? But it's written into traditions. It's supposed to be a loving, caring atmosphere. Easier said than done sometimes.
And
you know what I mean?
I completely get what you're saying, and what we're talking about in particular. That those walls have gone down where people feel welcome.
Well, that's what I'm saying. It's a vibe. At the end of the day, it's an energy.
I'm like a firm believer of like the whole like if whatever gets you to a meeting, like if you want to go because you think there's a van full of girls pulling up, or if you want to go because there's free coffee there, or if you want to go to bum a cigarette, like that's awesome. And you see that a lot, and I think but now we're at a point where I feel people are seeking them out. Like you have to seek them out.
Yeah.
You have to know. So they're a little more intimate, and there's still, ones that are vans pulling up, and there are guys that float outside, and they're still there. But I've noticed that it is like just these small settings, and it's like cool too. Like when we were doing the ones at the construction place, it was just like in this like dirt lot, like something about it. It's like when you go to the same meeting time and time, and I know like a lot of us do that in early recovery because you do your 90 and 90 and shit like that, and like gradually you just like build this like tolerance. You're just used to seeing the same people. You're used
I love
to
that
sitting in
name.
the same building, and then you stop going. You go to a meeting in Manchester. I know whenever I like get out of Nashville and I go to a meeting, it feels like it's like my first meeting again. I'm like, holy shit, like this is really exciting. Like it's not the same people. I'm in a different environment. And I know when COVID first started, like I fell back and I was like, I'll just do my home group on Zoom. Like I can take a break from meetings and shit like that. And it turned into like a couple months. And then for whatever reason, probably a month and a half ago, like I was like, I'm just gonna like start going to these ones that are in the backyards and shit. And it was like so fucking hyped to like see people that I hadn't seen in like months, maybe even like over a year and shit like that, and just have people like chilling and smoking butts. Like I miss that so much. And it's gonna be weird now that we're coming into winter again. Like I don't know, I know there's some things, some balls in motion right now to preserve the in-person meetings through the winter, but like it's fucking wild.
Yeah, it's gonna be super limited, and the fire pit will have to move indoors because I don't want the meeting to stop. And I have like the other thing that's been cool with coming back up and having it turn into what it's turned into is that I already, once that meeting's over, I already try to schedule 3 or 4 speakers for the next couple of weeks. And there was a video that I had seen the other day. I don't know if you've seen this, but there was a girl that had passed away on Mass Ave, broad daylight. This kid, Eddie. We know of each other. I'm not really that friendly with him. Like, I don't know him like that. I know him enough that he was coming in and out of NA for a while. And I see the video, and I'm like, oh, shit, that's the dude Eddie. And I'm looking, it's got like fucking, I don't know, like 10,000 views, and it was only up for a couple hours. I'm like, this shit's fucking skyrocketing. Like, let me listen to this, And it was just a very heartfelt, basically, like, rant. Like, you can tell he was just in his feels and fucking was talking about Mass Ave and just how fucking ridiculous it is down there, And he's like, I see this fucking girl hunched over on a fucking sidewalk, man, and I'm in my work truck, and I'm trying to find parking, and he went to Dunkin', or he did something, and he came back, and now it had been like 45 minutes, and the fucking girl was dead. And the fucking emotion that this guy is putting out just in the video, this is what gives me the chills even just talking about it, right? I'm always trying to think now with this fire pit meeting. That's why it's turned into that, because here's the bottom line. I put the fucking effort into it because I know that if I bring, like Rob G came, Wayne came, Mike Kern came, fucking Richie Evans came, like all these guys that I know can speak and give some energy to them. In my head, I was like, this dude, without even really knowing much about his background, he's got the clean time. I'd love to get this guy to come up, And we go to the center, and I come back, and someone had yelled my name, and I'm like, who's that? It was Richie, and then he's like, dude, I was just watching this video, and he starts explaining what I just said to you right after, like, within 10 minutes, right? And I'm just kind of like in my feels, like, damn, there was like mad emotion in that video, And then all of a sudden I get a text from Chris, and because I'm working, I'll check my phone once in a while. I don't know if there's an email or, just to kind of see what's going on. And I look, and it's Chris, and he's like, yo, you just see that video? I was thinking of asking that dude, Eddie, to come up and speak, that he'd be a great speaker for the fight. And the fact that that's the 3rd time within 10 minutes, I was like, yo, do me a favor, just see how much time he's got, And he had enough time to be able to come up and speak. And then the guys heard that. So there's already a buzz going into next week. And that's what I'm saying, though. It's like an energy, and it's a creative meeting, like saying, like, because Matt, he performed a piece, like I said. And that doesn't happen at meetings. And it was a fucking sick way to end a meeting.
Yeah, no.
And I'm looking forward to that kid coming up.
Bro,
because
he's so thankful, too. He keeps thanking me. He messaged me earlier today. He's like, dude, I'm like, we're still on, man.
Oh, I
saw that
too.
shit, and, like, I've been going through it because, like I said, like, I'm really, like, closed off, right? I have walls and barriers up, like, when it comes to, like, emotions. And, like, I was going through it, and I finally broke down with Marcus. Then I see that fucking video, and I'm just, like, in my car, like, just, like welled up. And, like, when I reached out, I was like, dude, this guy's got to come. Because the last Wednesday, after I was thinking about the next fire pit meeting. And when I saw the video, I'm like, this guy's right there.
When you have a collective energy that's going on for the same meeting, that's because I can't just do it myself. You know what I mean? That meeting is not grown just because of me. That's grown because other people that have said, I never fucking have wanted to share at a meeting before in my life. I've heard some things, but I've never had the balls to raise my hand. Then you got guys full sending fucking shit, like, where I'm like, yeah, bring it. Because our thing, it's like, hey, you're going to let out some heartfelt shit, just like Chris says all the time, Justin said. There's going to be some people that judge you. We're human. There's going to be some people. The ones that come up to you after, those are your people. And you were saying the tribe thing. I put up a thing the other day. It said Tribe Called Blessed.
Yeah, but it's the whole.
Right, I wanted to be
you
on
did
some
that.
like 300 shit around the fucking fire and shit.
That'd be dope.
Because it's, dude, people.
But it's the whole 8 Mile shit. It's like if you talk about yourself before
Yeah.
other people talk about you,
Yeah, you tear
then they
yourself
lose their
down
fucking
first.
power.
Yeah, the
They
big
lose their
rabbit.
power. The power's lost. It's already out there. This is what the fuck's going on. This is who I am. You know what I mean? It's like
It's why I didn't want to share when I had years clean before and relapsed. What I was doing with my life before I'd picked up was very shameful in my own head, like how I was living, right? So I didn't want to fucking share that. Well, I didn't stick around because I wasn't willing to fucking share that shit.
Yeah.
Now I'm just like fully transparent. If I'm going through some stuff or a relationship ended or whatever that may look like that you feel like if you have years clean, you're not supposed to share, like, I'm here to tell you that it's a fucking lie in your head.
Yeah.
We don't know what the fuck our life is going to look like tomorrow.
That's the whole fucking right and wrong bullshit. It's
Yeah.
like recovery's supposed to teach you a different philosophy and not viewing everything as right and wrong and viewing everything as like an opportunity. You know what I mean? Because sometimes doing the wrong thing can be the right thing if you share it with someone and you gain a different perspective and you learn from it.
Yeah.
So it's like we're taught by mankind that everything's supposed to be black and white, everything's right and wrong, and you get into recovery and you're supposed to do the fucking right thing. That's not what recovery's fucking teaching you.
Yeah.
That's wrong, actually. Recovery's teaching you interpret all that's happening and you try to learn from it. So if you get into a fucked up relationship, you fucking learn from the fucked up relationship so the next one's a little less fucked up and a little less fucked up. You don't just wait till you have 10 years clean and then you just get into a healthy relationship. Doesn't fucking happen. Bullshit. Call them bullshit on that.
Yeah.
So the point is to like, it's a philosophy way of living of like, you interpret all that's happening because shame and guilt, there's this fucking book, Power versus Force, and it measures emotions. And shame and guilt are the lowest measured emotions. It's like it's the lowest that you can feel. When you get into positive emotions, when you flip over to the positive, and then right before you get to positive, so it's like 0 to 1,000, and 200 or like 199 and below are considered negative emotions. They weaken you. They can do tests that they actually weaken you. These emotions weaken you. 175 is pride. And pride is what keeps us stuck because we're prideful and we want to like put on this perception that we're all good and everything's fucking fine. But as long as you're in pride, you can't step up into the fucking solution. The solution is, hope, honesty. You're instantly in positive fucking emotion. When you're in hope, honesty, there's willingness, there's fucking love, there's like all these emotions. But the second that you tap into those, you're stronger. They have all these tests of like, you know what I mean? You can like give people love and like put your arm out and you'll gain your strength. But like think negatively or you know what I mean? Be thinking pridefully and you'll be weaker. It like literally changes your fucking composition. Like it's crazy. It's fucking crazy. But it all ties in at the end of the day because it's like we're used to living in a society that teaches us to just try to be perfect and then like we're fucking shamed if we don't do exactly what the fuck we're supposed to. And it's a bullshit teaching. That's not what the fuck we're on this earth to do.
Well, like
you know
what
what
you
I
said
mean?
about pride, because for me, in the past, that's what took me out was pride and ego, and I'm a firm believer that pride and ego will only get you more pride and ego.
1,000%.
Yeah, and
Whereas being
1,000%.
humble and being like having gratitude and being grateful but living grateful. I used to like just say I was grateful, right?
Yeah.
But it's a fucking action word, meaning like you don't. If someone's actually grateful, they don't actually have
They
to
don't
tell
say
you
it.
they're fucking grateful.
Show it.
I do it because that's how I identify. I'm Jay. I'm an addict. I'm grateful to be here because I am. But pride and ego literally only got me to become a fucking huge asshole.
Yeah, and pride is like we teach pride as a society. If
However,
you
I
think
feel like
about
it needs
we-
to be dialed because sense of being a guy, like I'm prideful about my artwork, but I'm not prideful like I'm fucking all everything, right?
No, I
There's a
got
little
you,
sense
but-
of dialing, right?
But if
gotta
you
be a little
really,
prideful.
if you really look into pride, it's like we try to teach, like, oh, it's okay and it's all good, like you know what I mean. I'm proud of my kids, but even with that, if you start to really analyze it, it's like I'm proud of my kid that's the gymnast. But if you're proud of your kid that's the gymnast, and then fucking they break their fucking leg and aren't the gymnasts anymore,
Yeah.
how do they feel about themselves? And so it creates an image. Pride actually does help us to like feed our ego and create an image of ourselves. It does become separative in most ways.
Oh, I
and
get it, 'cause
so
I used to be a
it's,
fucking
and that's why
arrogant-
they say it's the deadliest of sins. It's like even if you talk about like AA and NA, we're very fucking prideful about like it's like fucking outsiders between the two fellowships. You know what I mean? Because like AA versus NA, why don't we fucking meet in a field and fucking fight? Which is ridiculous.
Hell yeah.
But it's pride.
I'm
It's
down.
fucking pride. It's stupid. You know what I mean? At the end of the day, we're all fucking on, like, we're supposed to all be on a spiritual path where we're all connecting on a spiritual basis.
Yeah.
So it's like it doesn't fucking matter. It's like, and not to say, you know, by all means, everybody should choose the path that works for them, you know? But it's like pride is an interesting. That's why recovery is so fucking difficult, because recovery literally combats some fucking human beliefs that we've been taught our whole lives, is my experience. Like literally when you really get into spiritual principles and the steps and other stuff, you're tearing down a lot of shit that you've learned most of your life. Because a lot of the shit that we learn most of our lives fucking created an existence that caused us to use drugs and alcohol because we weren't fucking okay. We didn't feel comfortable, you know what I mean, being who we were and fucking sharing what's going on with us. So it's, you know, to me, I think that, you know, like, I think people need to understand recovery better, though. Recovery is not just fucking go to meetings, get a sponsor, work the steps. Those are tools to change your perception of your life. And, like, you know what I mean? Like, learn about yourself more.
Well, that's why I think I've mainly discussed with the art and the music, and that is all part of recovery, and it's just, it's other avenues that are, you could even have as someone that doesn't even have a background with music or art, and that might be more attractive to them to get into step work. Because at the end of the day, it's not about, you know, 2 hours of teaching someone to do a canvas. That's not what I do down there. What I do is we talk about feelings, we talk about setting recovery-based goals, we talk about, and then it carries into painting a little bit, getting someone to walk through their comfort zone. Like I said earlier, just paint this, just get the paint on there, and then we still talk about that dialogue, because it still ultimately is what's going on here. If I just paint 24/7, I'm not really going to get to the core nature of what the fuck's truly wrong with me just by painting.
Right.
I just can't just do step work, and I can't just go to the gym, and I can't just talk to Justin about shit, or just like when we played basketball every Sunday, right? That was just as important as going to the fucking Friday Young People's meeting that we went to forever. You know, it's like, what does your day-to-day life look like? For me, I need, you know, balance of all those things. So what are we doing for time here?
I don't know.
We're
You just
Hour and 5 minutes. So we can.
Anyone got a pee?
I already went.
I do. All right, we're back from the pee break. I needed to go. Sorry, guys.
PP.
I know we were on to a little spiel of
Dude, the best part about peeing in a toilet that has like the blue toilet bowl cleaner
man.
is like how you can turn it purple.
Yeah, dude.
favorite color, by the way.
It's purple?
That was a joke about pissing blood. Anyway, so
It's purple. It is.
Sorry about my boy. No, I'm just kidding. I love you.
it happens.
We need that vibe.
Absolutely.
What, peeing blood?
I don't, I don't piss blood.
I just like because he's so monotone sometimes. So I'm like, is this a joke? I have to really pay attention with this guy. I look him right in the eye. I'm like,
I don't like it. Let tonalities give it away. I want you to really be thinking that.
oh, trust me. I'm like, because sometimes I'm so into it and then I don't laugh and I'm like, that was actually hilarious. I'm sorry. So, do we got a question, Chris?
What was the...
Hot seat.
I just like
you
throw.
rather
Plus, he has a
fight-
hoodie
No, I
on. It's 105 in here. He's the only
It's
one with a
fucking
hoodie.
so hot. I like the question when you guys just said, where do you see yourself in 5 years?
So you just jacked.
1,000%.
What went on?
Yeah.
1,000%.
I'm all about creating the future, thinking about the future.
Yeah.
A
So
lot of people don't do it, but it's a core success teaching that you're supposed to be doing it. You're supposed to be like creating and manifesting. It goes thought, action.
Well, when he
Being.
said that, because we've done episodes before where Chris has asked or Ledoux, and
It's a
I've
tough
actually
question,
got-
and there's a piece of you that doesn't even want to answer it honestly because we got to be humble and we got to, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
do I want to be on a fucking stage 5 years from now in fucking Australia? I don't know. Do you? Maybe you do.
well, when you just
that
said it
happened.
though, when,
that happened. There you
Yeah.
go.
Did it
What's
really?
Like, he's like, fucking already happened. Pussy.
Yeah. It wasn't a stage. It wasn't Australia.
he's like, I've been everywhere.
I'd go back.
but when you just said that, it made me. It did. The first thing I thought of, not the next 5 years, is that 5 years ago, right? I had relapsed. I was fucking trying to come in and out, and what I am doing today is what I was thinking back then. I was like, I want to get back on track. True. Right. I want to do something again with the art, which I had already accomplished a bunch in the time that I was in recovery before that. And I had done enough with other addicts, like sponsorship and just because I hadn't worked in recovery at that point, but I've done like step work and stuff, knowing that there was something there with that.
Yeah, no, 100%.
And that's what I am doing now.
It's interesting too, because like if you took me back 5 years, right? I was fucking writing all these goals and other shit. One of the goals that I wrote that's checked off now because I'm a big believer in 100 goals list, was I want to be in a happy, healthy relationship with my wife, right? When I wrote that down 5 years ago, I didn't know that was going to require a divorce and a remarry.
Just a different one.
Legit. I'm dead fucking serious, right? So I wrote that down. That goal was not possible in, you know what I mean, in the marriage I was in.
Right.
And like literally would I ever been able to think like I'm going to fucking, you know what I mean? I wrote that down thinking at the time, I'm going to figure this out. And shout out to my ex-wife. She's an amazing person, but we just weren't meant to be together. You know what I mean? We were like 8 years in, we were 10
Well,
years
you were at one
into-
point. You were at
Yeah,
one
we
point.
were at one point. We have 2 beautiful children,
Yeah.
but like we have been coexisting and hating each
But
other
that happens
for
over
years.
time. You outgrow because
No, for sure. But I was so scared to take the step out of that. I had no idea. But like these types of things, believe it or not, you thinking about it, I literally wrote it down, and 5 years later, I'm remarried. I'm
And happy.
happily married, and that goal is checked off the list.
and I see a difference in you anyway.
Yeah, no, for sure. But it was a needed change to like get where I am, you know? So it's like, it's interesting how you just focus your mind and the universe will deliver in my experience. But it's easy to sell ourselves short and be like, oh, don't think too big. Oh, don't do this. Don't do that. It's like, fuck that. Think as big as you want to think. You know what I mean? Because in doing that, you're starting to manifest it. And we limit ourselves so much by time and everything else. And it's like, you know, you could write down, I want to be a millionaire. It might take you, you know, you might become a millionaire at 70 years old. It might take you 40 years, 50 years. You still, you know what I mean? You easily still, most people do retire millionaires. You know what I mean? With their fucking savings. I just pulled out all my retirement, so I will not be fucking, in order to become a billionaire, I want to become
So
a
70,
billionaire.
it's 90 years old.
actually. So, but, you know, but one of the reasons I did that is because I believe in what I'm trying to create and what I'm trying to accomplish. So it's like I just went all in on myself. And
Oh, you
I pulled
created
out.
an app, so
I created an app,
apps
which
get crazy. Yeah.
exactly, yeah, you can get an easy $1 billion valuation. You get 1 million people on an app. So it's like I pulled out all the money I made in my whole life, and I created an app. So, and I have a vision with it. I have like a purpose with it. So
That's the most important part of it, though.
yeah, because I get to
You're
live
gonna
in
enjoy
that.
the path of it.
Exactly, the
journey of
process. It can be stressful at times, but as long as you stay in the purpose of what you're trying to create, ultimately, I created this app for virtual communities, and I know that I was guided by Source to do it. I created it, you know, I've been working on it for over a year. I started it last year, you know,
Well, it's more needed now.
in like August. Well, that's what I'm saying with COVID and everything else. Now we're all like
Oh,
used
thank
to
God.
like, oh, you know what I mean? This is a need. Because I still think, as much as I love human connection, and I think it's like, you know, I love being in person with people and everything else. There's a lot of people in recovery that like
Have kids,
have kids and
job,
have some
yeah.
lives,
can
and they
also
still
reach-
could use some like virtual meetings to supplement not leaving the house every single night and being away from their children and other stuff. Sometimes, you know what I mean? So it's just a tool. It's just
And you can
another
also
tool.
reach more people.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah, like
yeah.
more curated ones instead of just like Google and Zoom meetings, and then you just click on one because you don't even know what they are half the time.
Well, yeah,
Sometimes
exactly.
The password doesn't work. It's a
Yeah.
fucking mess.
I've only done
Yeah.
a few, and I was a little skeptical at first. I honestly was bashing it before I ever actually even went on one. And because someone had asked me to speak at one, when I did the CRSW class, actually, they had asked me to do one. I was like, oh, yeah, I'll do the meeting. Is it, where is it? Is it at a meeting hall? They're like, no, it's Zoom. I was like, fuck. And I had already agreed. And I'm going to be honest, part of it, I was scared because I'm like, I attempted to look at like what a Zoom looks like, and I'm like,
Yeah, how do I look?
you know what I mean? I was.
get it.
We're like self-conscious, you know? You
Yeah.
can be as fucking
Every time.
confident as you want, but I was, and when I did it, I enjoyed it, right? And then I did a Sunday morning men's meeting with Drew and all them.
Yeah.
And then I think I did one other one, and I was like, you know what? I was a little open-minded. I did get something out of it, but I'm definitely more of this.
No, I'm more in
just-
person, you know.
Yeah.
But there's going to be meetings. There's also live streams. So there'll
Well, you
just be
have a lot
live
of
streams of speakers. So you'll just be able to hear speakers on different topics, not even just, you know what I mean? It's like you have people talking about whatever, you know what I mean?
Well,
like
because you have spiritual groups too, right? Like,
well, spirit, yeah. So there'll be a spiritual community. Ultimately, the goal is to like be able to go on there. It's kind of like a more organized YouTube or something. You know what I mean? So like you'll be able to go on there and just see a list of a bunch of speakers. Like you'll like if you speak on the live streams, because you're gonna do it actually.
Yeah, I'm looking forward.
You know.
I'll do it.
I would
But
die.
if you love J Mac, you'll be able to go on there and you'll see all his live streams. So he'll be able to do them live, but then they're recorded and they're available
Some
afterwards.
marathon J-Mac.
So then there's-
Like you got 16 hours. I'm
No,
like,
but I'm saying there are people that
Shirtless
love you
J-Mac.
and that follow you and that could benefit from digesting, you know what I mean, your opinion about fucking the steps or your opinion about, like how your fucking artwork has helped your recovery. You know what I mean? It's like at the end of the day, it's not going to be boxed into. You can talk about any fucking shit that you want outside issues.
The
whatever.
funniest thing, it's 2020. You think everyone knows about technology and hitting the mute button. And I've been to so many meetings. You got the guy who thinks he's on mute, like eating Captain Crunch, or like the parents screaming at the kid and like, "Yeah, your mic's on." She's like, "Fucking gets
my
off."
thing
It's
is when if
hilarious.
you're talking or someone's talking and there's someone that's walking around, I'm paying attention to that little window and it's moving.
Yeah.
It's hard too, though, that when you're speaking and it goes to mute, you like don't have any energy coming back at you. So it's just like you know what I mean? It's like that's tough too. I don't love
It's
that.
funny you just said that because when I first did it, I said my name and then I was like, "Can everyone hear me?" And everyone's like, I did it like one other time.
Well, too,
Like, I
and then
kept
you
asking.
you tell a joke and it's just like fucking.
Yeah, it was
great.
crickets. I'm like,
That hurts.
It's like, yeah, I'm an
Because
asshole.
people are laughing, but they're fucking muted. You know, so they're like fucking. Can
I'm
someone?
always afraid, like when I am in like a meeting at home, that I like need to go to the bathroom, and I'll turn the camera off, and I'll like go into the bathroom and still be listening, and I'll just be like, I'll point the camera like facing the ceiling.
Yeah, oh, yeah,
Like
I
I'm
gotcha.
lying in bed in like my underwear, and like I'm gonna press the front facing cam, and it's just gonna be my fucking complete package.
I
would
went
love
to a
that.
meeting where they were telling everybody you have to be like dressed. I was like, well, they would get
What
problems here.
happened?
Is
Yeah,
there
yeah.
naked
What
people?
the fuck?
They're like
What
naked
did I
people in
miss?
this fucking
Yeah.
meeting, dude?
definitely.
It's like, Phil, put your pants on, please.
What
So
5 years,
so
guys.
5 years from now, who
Well,
wants
I
to start?
I
I
mean,
kind of half-ass
yes,
answered.
I have to now. It's
Yeah.
coming at me. I don't know. Like, I have a couple as far as like the career thing that are just certifications, and like I guess figuring out what my avenue would be in treatment, because I know that I'm all in at this point. But to like incorporate something, on the art side of things, and a lot of it has really just come from this conversation tonight. And I've like bounced ideas with people before. I know like me and Marshall fucking talk about stuff, and I've talked to you about it in smaller doses, but I think it would be awesome to have like some sort of like recovery like arts collective, whether it's something that's virtual and you can bring together people from all over, or it's something that we're talking about where we have like a art center around here, or like a combination of the two. Like that would be fucking awesome. And I don't really know, it's a lot to think about, but I don't think something like that would not be attainable. I mean,
I think it's
that could
actually-
be turned around within a year if we.
I was just gonna say I think it's a lot closer than
Yeah.
5 years.
Yeah, we can turn that around quick because we've
Yeah.
already been working on it.
Yeah.
I got the app. We're gonna open in the rec center.
Yeah.
We can advertise on the app about what's happening at the rec center.
Yeah.
That's
so
exciting.
yeah.
So your
it's all
5 years
coming
is
together.
figured out. So
Yeah, so
you
like
gotta
my
keep
5
that
years
list
is-
going.
16
5 years
months.
from now,
I don't know.
is music gonna be involved? I'm
I
just
would
curious.
love. Yeah, I mean, like personally too. Like, I think it would be cool to have like some sort of music, like personal, not that wouldn't be with people in recovery, but some sort of music projects. So, doing the battle rap shit was a lot of just videos on YouTube, or it's a cappella and you're just telling dad jokes to another dude and how you're gonna shoot him in the face. Whereas
Which has changed over time because I grew up in an era where you had a DJ and he'd drop an instrumental and
Yeah.
you spit over that. It wasn't this like spoken word where you
Yeah.
have.
But it's still
right.
like you're projecting outwards as opposed
Oh,
to
yeah.
like
No, it's
pulling
still
from
a
your
skill.
own,
Yeah,
you
yeah.
know. So as much as it is creative, I think I could, kind of hone that creative direction into something that has a little more longevity where, you battle rap, you watch it and then it's on to the next one. You put out like a hit record, like that shit'll get played until fucking the end of the day, So I think it'd be sick to make music in some capacity. And that's something that I was into before. Like I said, I played drums and I like learned to rap on beat and stuff like that. But once I found like my niche in the a cappella, competitive circuit of it, I kind of said, I don't care about making music. I'm just going to talk shit to dudes and get fucking YouTube views and fly around the place. And it's awesome, but it kind of took away from, I guess, like what got me into music to begin with and things that I've never, been able to accomplish on that front. And I think at this point in my life, it would be something a lot more casual and a lot more like, I don't know, gratifying. Whatever. So
We are coming to an end of this episode, but I do want to get real quick, Marshall, what your 5 years looks like. But we have a couple minutes.
All right, yeah. I just basically want to find a way to use my experience in life to help people find a path for myself. I do still want to do music. You know, I won't have like the preconceived expectation for it to be like some cult following, some big thing, but like part of my ability to communicate my feelings is through music. That's like I'm like only able to in a certain capacity. So I think I'll be able to help people like with that, you know, because I'll hear music and I'll identify with something, even chords. It doesn't have to be words. Like I'll hear a sound because it's vibrations and stuff, and I can cry or like feel away from like songs, and that's what art is the ability to convey an emotion, whether it be anger, blah 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 blah. So
Yep.
I just want to be like, I just want to be getting closer to my soul. All the you know, superficial stuff, I would love for that to fall in place. That'd be dope. But I just want to stay true to myself. So I want to be like 5 years true to myself in 5 years, and I want to, I don't know, I want to put something in the air that affects people, that makes them feel in like a positive manner, and can like kind of translate my experience in a way to motivate and help people.
Thank you.
That was beautiful. I love that.
What are we
It's the
at?
truth.
We got 3 minutes. Want to wrap that up?
what's yours?
Mine is so big. Like
Come on.
it is.
real
Dude. I
cute
just
when
I
I
want to. I want to further my career. I've always wanted the basic, like, get a house, you know, couple dogs, family. Like, that to me has always been a goal. I know society says that's what's going to make me happy, but that's always been something, is to find someone I could vibe with. If it's not, maybe being comfortable enough to be like, I'm okay with just being by myself. And I think what you said about like having the cult following, I think you should get together with Justin, because he always talks about having a love cult where everyone works as a unity and combines everything. So I think you guys should definitely get together after.
Yeah, we do it on Wednesdays around the fire.
Yeah, exactly. And I just
Around the cookie.
just furthering my career and, you know, continue to chase my dreams. What?
That's episode. Are you good?
Yeah, I'm good.
I just didn't want it to shut off while you were talking because the card's gonna run out.
2 minutes? What do you got?
What do I got?
2 minutes,
Yeah, where you gonna be, Jay? 5 years.
I thought I already shared that.
All right.
Yeah.
All right. So we're good here.
Well, we need to tell people to like, share,
Like,
subscribe,
yeah.
comment, right?
What are the sponsors
Send
again? I don't think we
video.
name dropped.
Buy your vape stuff at Lineage Vapors, 60 Main Street, Nashua, Unit 220.
The
Rich
Instagram.
Print Shop.
Yep, Rich Print Shop.
All Construction, Rise Barbershop.
Brazzers.
Instagram at Somebody's Podcast, and on YouTube. Please like, share, subscribe. Thank you. We out.
Thanks.
Thank you.